what better way to celebrate 100 videos on this channel than by proving that I'm the best comic reviewer on YouTube and those other reviewers are a bunch of dirty casuals. Fight me, nerds! So for this video, we're going to be focusing on 10 comic reviewers, and that doesn't count all of the other comic tubers who don't specifically review comics, such as Mullet Man Comics, who has very popular videos about very famous comic storylines, but he doesn't actually review those comics, he just summarizes them and shows you a bunch of pictures from them, which is good promotion for comics and probably makes some new comic fans who might then go out and buy their own comics, maybe, but they're not reviews. There's also Comics Explained, which is again just summaries of comics with voiceovers and lots of pictures. Again, probably helpful in getting readers, but not a review. And another example is Comics with Bueller, which is another popular channel, but all he really does is show you all the covers that are coming out each week and doesn't offer any commentary on what's actually happening in the issues, what's good about the issues, what's bad about the issues. He's also got videos of interviews with other people talking about the industry itself, which is, again, probably good for the hobby, but not a review. And there are countless other people on YouTube talking about comic books, but I wanted to specifically look at the ones who are reviewing comics, especially new comics. So let's get started with one that you've probably already heard of. It's Pop Culture Philosophers with Rockin' Robbie Billups. So this is a channel that I took a lot of influence from. When I first started my channel, I was watching his videos, and I was watching Anthony Fantano's videos, and I was basing my videos mostly off of those two. He's obviously been doing this for a long time. He's got great audio and video quality. He's got a really short and sweet and catchy title sequence. The channel is unique. He's got a pick of the week as well as a smell of the week. His background is really cool, but I wish there wasn't so much glare on that poster right behind him. And he's also very articulate and thorough about his analysis of every single comic that comes out every single week. And not only is that impressive, but what's more impressive is that he does a half-hour-long video every single week about every comic that comes out with no cuts. I don't know if he's got notes or something right in front of him, or if he just has a great memory and great vocabulary ready to go so he can just speak off the top of his head about every single issue that week. It's insane. He's got weekly new comic reviews, he's got weekly pop culture wrap-ups, he's got a podcast, he's always going to Comic-Cons and whatnot. I think it's safe to say that he's the internet's busiest comic nerd. The day that I will feel good about myself is the day that I start getting more views on my videos than he does on his, and not a day sooner. I'm gonna feel really bad about myself until that day, and you can't stop me! So Pop Culture Philosophers is really good. I recommend checking out his videos yourself, and if you could comment on every single one of his videos, where's the beef, I would take that as a personal favor. Next, we're talking about Mint Collectibles. This guy has remarkably good audio and video quality considering he's filming from inside a Zap Zone. He does a whole range of videos, not just comics, but also statues and collected editions. I wouldn't say that he's on the front line of what's happening in comics specifically, like he's always buying omnibuses and, you know, collectibles. He's more of a collectibles guy, which includes comics, but he will have opinions on comics once in a while. He's got really great thumbnails, and he also made a video asking what other people are collecting, which I think is cool. It's a good way to reach out to the community and have a discourse, so I like that. I wouldn't say that he's quite as articulate as Pop Culture Philosophers, and he also has some dead air between his sentences, and there should be cuts there, I think. There's no shame in cuts, my dudes. Do you see how many cuts I have in my videos? I have to retake every single sentence like 3 times. So if you're into the collecting side of comics, then he's definitely a good channel to watch, but I think he might be an ex-communist, and that definitely counts against him in my book. Next up is Otto Comics. I like this guy a lot. He was one of the first comic tubers I ever interacted with. That being said, I would like to fight him. I'm talking a bare-knuckle brawl here. I think we're both in the same weight class. You know, we're both kind of scrawny nerds, and I would imagine that neither of us have ever been in a fight. Time and a place, Otto. It's what the fans want. Let's get this done. So anyway, he's got weekly new comics videos, and he's got honest opinions about comics videos. He does actual reviews of the issues. He digs into the art and the writing and the plot. He's got some good points, and most of the time we agree on things. Sometimes we don't, which is fine. I like his background too. It looks like he has some of his own drawings up behind him in the videos, and I think that's very wholesome. Overall, I would say that he's a very hard-working young man. Next up is ComicTropes. I'm sure you've all heard of him. I consider him the big fish of comic reviewing. I think he is the most valuable comic content on YouTube, and he's the most likely comic tuber that I will watch. I'm pretty sure he only makes 1 video per week, but he puts lots and lots of research into it. He's worked in the industry, so he knows what he's talking about. He knows the people who are making these things. The editing is really good, the content itself is really good, his scripting is really good. I like his intro a lot, I think it's high quality, but it is a little bit long. I don't want to sit there watching the whole thing every time I watch his videos. I do not want to fight him because that guy is a bear and I think he would definitely win. But I'm pretty sure ComicTropes was the first channel that I ever followed with my channel, so that should tell you something about how much I value his work. It's really great, I totally recommend it. Next on my list is Thinking Critical, and this is the only comic reviewer on my list who represents that group of middle-aged white guys who want to stare into their computer screen and complain about everything. He posts a lot of videos of him sitting in the same boring room, staring at the computer screen, complaining about something for much longer than is necessary, just going in circles. And every time he has somebody else join the show, they never join with video, so it's just their logo and their bad audio quality, and it's really hard to watch, honestly. Considering the lack of editing past the 30-second mark, and the boring background, and how often he has people come on the show but don't show their face on the show, I think his channel could very easily just be a podcast, and he'd probably get the same amount of viewers that way. He's also got very clickbaity titles, and it seems kind of like a rallying point for the whole conservative side of the comic fandom, which, by the way, I'm not going to totally throw out the window. I think that he has some good points, and if I had grown up with these characters in the 70s and the 80s, seeing what they're doing to the characters now in an effort to make new audiences want to read comics would bum me out a little bit, especially if I had been faithfully collecting those comics and giving them my money for 30 years, and then they started just changing things all willy-nilly so that young kids wouldn't be able to mob them on the internet. I think that there is something to be said for loyal, older fans of comics feeling disillusioned with the industry because now the companies are doing all these changes in the comics for the sake of what boils down to virtue signaling. And I also have a hunch that the new audiences that the companies are changing things for are not going to become loyal customers who go out and buy comics from comic stores every week. They just want to see things looking the way they want it to look on the internet. So, in conclusion, Thinking Critical does have some good points once in a while, but man, you gotta take them in small doses. Next up is Casually Comics, which is a channel that I actually didn't know existed until I started researching for this video, and man was I surprised by this channel. She's got a great background, really good editing, she has strong summaries with lots of context from the comics, she has opinions that are backed up, and she has a lot of fact-based reporting. She's very articulate, but she's also very concise, which is important for keeping the attention of people our age, so I can appreciate that. I think her videos can be a little bit long. I'm not sure how many people are watching that video all the way through, but I do appreciate how thorough she's being. It's a very well-balanced analysis of everything she reviews. My one complaint, which is just personal preference, is I don't love it when she does the voiceovers for the comics that she's reviewing. Like, unless you're actually a voice actor, I don't really want to see you trying to capture the emotions of these moments in the comics. And I know that I've done it once or twice before, but I promise you I was just as uncomfortable as you were. Never again, I promise. So Casually Comics is a really great channel. I definitely recommend checking it out for yourself. The problem that I have is the first time I saw one of her videos, I was eating spaghetti, so now I can't watch her videos without thinking of spaghetti. And there's only so much you can think of spaghetti before you gotta stop thinking about spaghetti, you know? Next up is Graphic Policy. These are true review videos. He takes individual comics and he talks about what he likes about them. He summarizes them, the artist, the writer, all of it. I love it. The tech side of things is certainly lacking. I don't love the lighting. I don't love the audio. I really don't like the intro because it is silent, which is a problem. The thumbnails could definitely be a lot better, and there's a lot of dead air, which is very unengaging. I keep finding myself looking away from the video and thinking about other things, so that's not good. But he makes good points. He has very short videos, and he makes a lot of videos, so he gets through more comics than I could hope to get through, and that is a value. And I can certainly sympathize with not wanting to deal with the technology of YouTube and just wanting to deal with comics. I mean, computers are scary. I keep mine chained up to the wall just in case. Next up is Weird Science Comics, which is in a very similar vein. They have lots and lots of videos. They're very short, but they are true reviews. The intro is kind of weird. I don't love sitting through that intro every time. The videos are pictures from the comics that last a little bit too long to be interesting, with a voiceover that has kind of warped audio. That being said, the reviews themselves are valuable. They make lots of good points, and their thumbnails are really well done. So those videos would be a good thing to put on in the background while you're working on something else, like if you're drawing or working on real people work, I don't know. You could have them playing in the background, and you're not really missing anything by not looking at the video itself. Next up is Comic Uno, whose real name might be Hayden Claire? Claire Hayden? Cat? Calamia? Most of her videos are new comics of the week videos that have a kind of clickbaity title focusing on one comic that came out that week, but in that video she does review at least 10 of the comics that came out that week, which gives you a good idea of what's coming out for yourself. I think the videos are a little bit dark, like I think it needs more lighting, especially when she pulls up her iPad and you see how bright that is in contrast to how dark the room is. So I'm sure she has some cool stuff in the background, but you can't really see it. There are also no cuts, so there's some dead air while she's checking on what's next on her list, and that's kind of unengaging. Something I do like about her channel is that she has a lot of videos about Kickstarter comics that you can go and support. She loves supporting indie artists who are really just trying to get their first work out there, and that's very admirable and very important to the hobby. She also writes her own comics, which I love to see when comic tubers are actually getting their hands dirty in the industry, and she's a journalist who works for DC Universe. So she's all over comics. I would say that after ComicTropes, she is the comic tuber who has the greatest claim to actually knowing what they're doing in the comic industry. However, I will say that her videos smell bad. I would not recommend smelling her videos. The last comic reviewer on my list is Comics Are Dope, which is BJ Kicks. This guy is just so likable. He's so friendly. He gives off such positive energy. What a nice dude. He's got a short, classy, high-quality intro. He has comic creators come on his channel all the time. He has some spotlights on indie creators, which I love to see, and he has really good audio and video overall. His most popular videos are videos where he talks about what comics he's going to buy each week, so it's kind of a preview about what's coming out, which is valuable if you didn't know what comics are coming out, but he doesn't have any actual insight on how good the comics are themselves. And yeah, he gives off really good energy, but he's also staring directly at you the entire time. And it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable, like I have to look away when I'm watching his videos because I don't want to look directly into his eyes. Also, he gives updates on various things before he gets into the actual content of the video, and I wish that introduction section was shorter. I feel like I gotta skip ahead a few times to get to the thing I'm actually there to see. That, combined with having no cuts, makes it a little hard to stay engaged. I kinda drift away and start doing other things while I listen to the videos, but if you're already doing other things, then he is good background noise that you can tune into once in a while. But overall, Comics Are Dope is a dope channel. He really cares about the comic industry. He wants to promote people getting into comics, which I think is very valuable. BJ Kicks, I challenge you to a staring contest. We'll see how you like it when I don't stop staring at you. So that's all the comic reviewers I wanted to talk about. Obviously, I don't actually think that I'm the best comic reviewer on YouTube. I think I've got a lot to learn from these people, and everybody's got their own specific little niche that they're filling, and it's good. But someday I will be the best, and if you don't go follow my new Instagram page, then I'm gonna break your legs. So I'm Kurt Williams, and until next time, rise and grind, don't crease those spines.